Go ahead and stand and worship. The greatest day in history. Death is beaten, you have rescued me. Sing it out, that Jesus is alive. The empty cross, the empty grave. Life eternal, you have won the day. Shout it out, that Jesus is alive. He's alive. Happy day, you washed my sin away. Oh, happy day, I'll never be the same. Oh no, forever I am changed. When I stand in that place, free at last and meaning face to face, I am yours, and Jesus, you are mine. In this joy and perfect peace, earthly pain finally will cease. Celebrate that Jesus is alive. He's alive. Happy day, you wash my sin away. Oh, happy day, I'll never be the same. Oh no, forever I am changed. And oh, what a glorious way that you have saved me. And oh, what a glorious day, what a glorious day. Oh, happy day, you wash my sin away. Happy day, I'll never be the same. Oh no, forever I am changed.
It is great to be here with you. If you're not with us at the meal packing that's going on right now, I'm just glad you tuned in and are visiting with us right now. It's been a great Christmas season, hasn't it? It has been awesome, and I have so totally enjoyed the conversations that I've gotten into regarding the series topic, which was the topic of angels. But there was one story that I did not get to that I want to share this morning. And this story kind of follows what I mentioned in a sermon on December 1st, all the way back to the beginning of the series. I said that there's some biblical accounts of angels actually taking on human appearance, human form, and in order to facilitate conversations between the human that they were interacting with. Well, there is a story that took place in Joshua chapter 4, or chapter 5, and in the previous chapter, chapter 4, Joshua and all of Israel they have just broken camp behind Mount Nebo, and I was there a few years ago, and if Mount Nebo stands here, the Jordan Valley and the Jordan River kind of are right in front of you as you're standing on top of Mount Nebo. But behind Mount Nebo is this valley and this kind of ravine that could easily encamp millions of people. And that's where they were. They were back here behind Mount Nebo, which is standing here. And they broke camp and they came out into the Jordan Valley, which was miles wide and just a long distance in either direction. It ends in the Dead Sea on this side, and you can see the Dead Sea from Mount Nebo. But right ahead of you is the Jordan River, and right across the Jordan River, you can see Jericho from Mount Nebo. And so the Israelites, they pass over the Jordan Valley, and they pass through the Jordan River that is at flood stage because God stopped the water flow so that this mass of humanity could cross the Jordan. And they get on the west side of the Jordan River. And while they're there, they do two things. First, they circumcise all of the men of military age. So I don't know why they didn't do that back at camp, but they did that when they were just a couple of miles from Jericho on the other side of the Jordan. The second thing they did was they celebrated Passover. So there was two very ceremonial things that they did. They circumcised all the men of military age, and they celebrated Passover together. This was preparation for entering into the promised land. Jericho is in front of them to the west, and they're ready. Now Joshua and Israel take several days for the men to heal and for them to prepare themselves for battle and for taking Jericho, and they're ready. They are in full battle mode and ready to take the promised land and the city of Jericho. When all of a sudden, there appears right in front of Joshua in chapter 5, verse 13, it writes this: there appears a man. It says, Joshua was near Jericho. He looked up and saw a man standing in front of him with a drawn sword in his hand. So here's this man. He is standing in front of Joshua. At least he looks like a man. He has the appearance of a man. And remember now, Joshua is in full battle mode. And Joshua goes up to him and asks this question. It says, Joshua went up to him and asked, "Are you for us or are you for our enemies?" Now think about those words. Those are the words of a warrior ready for battle. He goes right up. He doesn't care who this is. Joshua is ready to do battle. And so he walks up to the first man that he sees and he asks, "Are you for us or are you for our enemies?" And, you know, that whole idea of Joshua going up, Joshua did not hesitate. He was ready to take on whatever was represented in front of him. And it was this man. And then this man spoke. And he said this to the question that Joshua asked. He said, "Neither," the man replied, "but as the commander of the Lord's army, I have now come." Those are strong words. I love the way Tony Evans puts this. He paraphrases. He puts this moment. He captures this moment. Joshua was basically saying, whose side are you on? Are you on their side or are you on our side? Because I'm about to take out anybody who's on their side. And Dr. Evans paraphrases it and says, this is what he paraphrased that the man said. The man said, "I didn't come here today to take sides. I came here today to take over." And And when the man introduced himself as the commander of the Lord's army, suddenly Joshua realized that he was in the presence of the divine, and the divine presence of this man, this angel, was standing there. And it says this in Joshua 5. Then Joshua fell face down to the ground in reverence and asked him. Now I want you to notice what Joshua asks him. He says this. He says, "What message does the Lord have for his servant?" Joshua is referring to himself, and he's saying, "What message do you bring from the Lord?" This reminds me that we do not pray to angels, because angels do not have the ability to take our message back to God. They only have the ability to bring God's message to us. The commander of the Lord's army replied, "Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." And Joshua did so. I want you to think about this moment. Joshua is in full battle mode. He is ready, his body is charged up, and he is ready to go. I've often thought about this passage, and when I played football, there were in the locker room getting ready for the game, I was ready to go. Now Joshua is being asked to take off his sandals, ratchet all that energy down in that moment. That's just not a human instinct. That's not a natural human instinct to do for a man. He's ready to go. Don't tell me to slow down, but that's exactly what he's being asked to do. I remember a moment not long ago in the life of this church that many of us that are listening to this may have experienced something. You may have experienced this with us. It was October 4th, 2022. It was the night of the disaffiliation vote, where we were disaffiliating and getting ready to go on our own and finally become the Global Methodist Church. The district superintendent was there, a man that I have great respect for, and he was up on the stage, right here on the stage with me, and he asked for a few moments. He asked me, may I address the crowd? There was about over 200 people there and that had gathered. We had come to vote. We had come to get the job done, to get it done. And I could tell everybody was in get it done mode. But he had asked to speak. And so he did. And he said right in the middle of this gathering, he said, I want you to know that as a church, you own your building. Now that was an electrifying statement that he made, because up to that point, we had been told, and we knew to be true, that though our name was on the deed, we did not own this building, that the previous denomination that we were part of could come in, lock the doors, and take over, take the assets and take the building if we did not do things right. But that was not the holy moment that I'm talking about. There was a moment just after he said that. I was sitting here and he was standing and talking, and I remember thinking to myself, okay, church, do not take the bait. Nobody needs to say anything in that moment. Don't engage that statement. I was thinking that to myself. Because what he was doing was he was using semantics to try to engage a debate among us that would have thrown a chaotic confusion into the evening and given him the right to shut down the meeting due to a lack of understanding. No one took the bait. He paused. He was waiting for engagement to come. There was a 6 to 8 second moment where anyone could have been in battle mode and engaged, and they didn't. They waited. Everyone in the room, we all waited, and he moved on. Now back to the story of Joshua. In that moment, this man told Joshua, to take off his shoes and to understand where he was in the presence of the divine, where he was in that moment before the battle was to take place, where he was in history. This was to be an important moment in all of history, and Joshua was in that moment. God calls us, like he called Joshua, to stop, to think about where we are. We are on the brink of the year 2025. Each of us will turn another year older in this year very soon. We are in a pivotal place in regard to our families, in regard to our careers, in regard to our grandchildren, in regard to our nation, in regard to this church and the ministries that we will do and the way that we will carry out that ministry. What made that holy ground was the fact that the holiness of God in the present, the holiness of God met Joshua where he was, and Joshua recognized the moment, and he submitted to it. It says that after he received the message to take off his sandals, it simply says, and Joshua did so. What will it say at the end of 2025 about you? We are going to do a couple of things this morning. We have a meal packing service, as I said earlier, that's going on right now in our church. And this morning we're going to cut to that from time to time. We're going to cut to that meal packing and meet some of the people as that meal packing progresses through the morning. But we are also going to be introduced to some people, a few people that are doing certain things around this church, things that are happening in this church that are going to be coming in the near future. And here's what I'm asking. I'm asking that you listen to them. I'm going to call these holy ground moments and opportunities for you to just sit and listen and go, what am I going to do about this? What am I hearing? And what am I going to do with this? Before you get into absolute full battle mode for 2025 and figure out how you're going to just bull your way through the year and do everything yourself because that's the way you've maybe always done it, I'm going to ask you to slow down, and I'm going to ask you to listen to these people. What they're going to say, let their message and their ministry get in to you so that you hear it, so that you don't just dismiss it, but really consider what God is saying to you and how he's calling you to involvement in this coming year, this next few months and this next year. So let's take a moment now and check out the meal packing as they're getting started this morning.
All right, things are getting going here. Everybody is walking in. I'm here with Angie Wu, our missions coordinator. And Angie, you're kind of heading this up here today. So now I know you work here leading this today, but you also do other work for Lifeline. So tell us about that.
Yes, Anton and I go around to other churches in Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky to do this same thing at other churches.
Wow. All right. That is awesome. So this is kind of become a tradition for us. We do it every year. Why do you think it's important for us to end the year this way?
This church is very focused on missions. We do a lot throughout the year, and this is just one opportunity for all of us to come together, one big group, put our hands together and help feed the people all over the world.
Yes, I love that we do this.
Me too.
So what is our goal for today?
Our goal is 35,000 meals.
35,000 meals. Wow. All right. Well, we're going to get to work here and we will see if we can reach that goal. Now, Angie actually sat down with Dan earlier in the week, so let's see what they had to say about missions.
Well, you have just met Angie Wu, who is kind of helped organize. She's done all kinds of ministries and missions around this church, but she helps organize this end of the year meal packing that we do. We have done that meal packing that you're seeing today consistently since 2017. Even through COVID, we did that meal packing. And Lifeline is a ministry that we have partnered with that provides these meals for the country of Haiti, for the people of the country of Haiti. And it is an opportunity. They did this ministry to give church people the opportunity to be a part of it. Maybe you would never go on a mission trip, never be able to go on an international mission trip or something. But this gives us an opportunity to do something significant, to pack meals that will go into the bowls, go into the plates of people who desperately need them, and feed them. Lifeline is also the ministry that we partnered with back in 2021 and 2022, if you remember, to build out and paint the 2 shipping containers that we put together for a classroom for Haiti. And so we've got a pretty strong relationship with them. But I've asked Angie to be here with us today to talk a little bit more about missions and to give us a little more detail. So welcome, Angie. I'm so glad you're here with us. And what I'd like to kind of begin, there's some questions that I've been asked from time to time. We hear about all the missions that we do here as a church. And could you just kind of go through a list of what are the missions that we are involved in, the partnerships that we're involved in, from right here in Tip to the far beyond?
There's a lot of them for a church our size. Starting here in Tip, we work with Hopi on the Walls and Needy Basket. In Detroit, we work with Isaiah's Place and St. Pat's Food Kitchen.
What's Isaiah's Place? How do we actually help? And what's our partnership?
Right. So they work with foster parents and families. So we have some ladies here that make 5 casseroles every month for them to store in their freezers. So when a family needs some food, needs a dinner, they have them in there for the families.
That's awesome. And so at St. Pat's, we help with meals. We
serve lunch at Terrace Ridge Apartments.
Okay. And Terrace Ridge. Okay. All right.
So going out a little further over in Columbus is where Lifeline Christian Missions Center is.
Okay.
Down south to Dayton, we have Target Dayton, we have Dear Dinah, we have Oasis House. We are on 2 college campuses. We are on Wright State University with Athletes in Action and Kent State University with the H2O Church. Going from Ohio, we go to Appalachian Service Project in Kentucky, West Virginia. They do some...
Is that what we call ASP?
Yes.
Okay, so when we go on an ASP trip, that's Appalachian Service Project.
Right.
Okay.
Right. We go to Florida and volunteer at Give Kids the World. Seeds of Hope is a new partner down in Selma, Alabama. We just did our first mission trip this fall down there.
We've seen a few videos of them.
Yep.
It's awesome.
And we are going to be starting a new one with Samaritan's Purse down in North Carolina to do some disaster relief.
Okay, and that's the one that we're going to do soon. Yeah. Okay.
Yep, that's our new one. And then reaching out globally, we are in Tanzania with Angel House Orphanage, and we're hoping to start one in Kenya with Hope 27.
Okay. It sounds like a lot.
Yes.
No wonder people say, it feels like a lot of things that we do, because we are doing a lot. Well, let me turn from that for a second and ask you about the term faith promise. We use that term and we say you can give to faith promise here, and that money will go to missions. What exactly is Faith Promise, and can the Faith Promise piece, and how does it work its way in? And can you give us a couple of examples of how we give, our giving to Faith Promise moves into kind of ministry and mission action?
Sure. So backing up a little bit, before the Faith Promise, we have a global impact celebration where we bring our mission partners in. We love on them, we show them our support for them, and they give us updates on what they're doing.
And that happens once a year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So when we ask for a faith promise, that is between the individual and God. It is something that they feel called to give directly to missions.
Okay.
It's above and beyond their church tithe, because that's over here and faith promises over here.
All right.
So the missions team gets together and we decide who needs it, how can we help certain people. So we help athletes in action
Okay.
through Haley Dunn.
Okay.
She meets with the athletes. They're on Wright State's campus.
So when we give to Faith Promise, a portion of that money is designated to go to help support Haley Dunn, who's a leader in Athletes in Action.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
It goes to Kent State to help Lauren Woolen.
Okay.
It goes down to Selma to help Will O'Neill
Okay.
with the community, building the community center and getting the kids involved in safer things.
Okay.
It stays here in Dayton by sponsoring Christmas boxes for Target Dayton
Yep,
people.
yep.
And even closer into the church, when somebody wants to go on a mission trip and they can't afford it, we have monies designated that if people come and ask and fill out a scholarship form.
Okay, so there's a portion of that Faith Promise money that's set aside for scholarships for people that maybe want to go on a mission trip but can't necessarily afford the whole thing.
Right.
That's really important to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, the teenagers that we see go on mission trips, we see adults go on mission trips and we see teenagers. Are those connected in some way, or are they separate things? Does family ministry go on mission trips that they figure out, and adults go on mission trips that the missions team or how's that work?
We work together.
Okay.
We work together. Jamie, Zeke, and I talk about different mission trips and how we're going to do it and when we're going to do it, so that we're all coordinated. We are trying to get a plan from 7th grade to high school to adult, so that we build on their experiences.
Okay.
We have exclusive just teen trips, we have just adult trips, and we're starting more and more to get into the multi-generational, so that the kids can learn from the adults and the adults can benefit from having the kids around.
I just went on one of those
Yes.
with my grandson, and it was awesome to be able to experience that with him. So just to reiterate, so the plan of the mission team is to begin injecting real-time mission trips in a graduated way, starting at 7th grade.
Yes.
And in an intentional way. I know that there's some younger ones that have gone, but it really is in an intentional way being offered from 7th grade on up.
Right. Yep.
That's awesome. I am so excited about that.
Yeah.
Tell me some more specifically what you kind of foresee in terms of mission trips for 2025.
For 2025, we have 5 of them ready to go.
5.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Let's hear them.
first one is North Carolina with Samaritan's Purse. It is 16 years old and over.
Okay.
Because of Samaritan's Purse's restrictions. They have to be 16 with a parent.
And that's for the disaster relief
Yes.
from Hurricane Helena.
Right.
Okay. All right.
In June, we have a Give Kids the World youth trip going down for about 5 days.
Okay.
We have 2 trips in July. We'll be going as a multi-generational trip down to Selma, Alabama to help out Seeds of Hope. And then we have an ASP trip for youth.
Okay.
We'll finish out the year in October with an adult trip to Give Kids the World.
Okay. Sounds like a busy year.
Yes, it is.
It sounds awesome, though.
Yes.
That if a person wants to go on one of those trips, it sounds like you have some dates set and others not, but what will they be looking for? What should they be looking for do you usually try to start out with an information meeting, or how does?
Yeah,
what's
we start
next?
out with an informational meeting just to see if there is interest and how many, so that we can make arrangements for the trip. After that, we ask for commitments, sign on the dotted line, and then once we have numbers, we'll start with pre-meeting devotional get-togethers to prepare our hearts and our minds for whatever we're going to see on that specific trip.
Okay. And then finally, if a person, maybe they haven't gone on a mission trip, but they are hearing about missions and they would love to be more involved, maybe even with the team or in some way, what would you suggest that they consider doing?
I think the first and best step is to get your feet wet. We have opportunities the third Saturday of every month from January to December to get involved with missions. Every other month we go up to Troy and partner with St. Pat's Food Kitchen and serve lunch at Terrace Ridge Apartments. That's an easy, couple hours kind of thing.
Okay.
5 times a year we go down to Target Dayton. We attend church service and serve dinner. Again, an easy couple hours.
Okay.
And then in July, since we have so much fun here doing the meal pack, we'll go to Westerville and do it in their facilities and pack meals again to
So
send
if
out.
a person wants to take a step
Yes.
and go, how do I get more involved? I agree with missions, all of that thing. What you're suggesting is be really aware of some of the easier ways to step in, and then get to know the missions team and the
Right.
mission experience, and let the missions team get to know you or them, and then go from there.
Right.
Is that
Yep.
what you're? Well, it's great to have you here this morning, and I know that right now you're probably meal packing, but thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Let me come back to that moment with Joshua. He is preparing to go over and take a city of Jericho. And he has the opportunity to take it on all himself, tear down the walls all by himself, or he has the opportunity to stop, to wait, and the commander of the Lord's army gives him that opportunity. And he says to him, I didn't come here to be on your side or the other side. I basically came here to lead this battle. And he was saying to Joshua, stop, think, draw from some wisdom, and take a moment. And think what you want to do next. I want to say that back to you. I want to say to you, I want you to stop at the end of this year and the beginning of 2025, and think how you want to move into 25. Stop and think about how you can get involved, and maybe you can even get a family member involved, maybe in a mission trip, maybe an opportunity for you and one of your friends to sit down and go, how can we contribute more? I want you to look at the list that we have on the screen right now. Take a screenshot of the things that are going on in 2025 and give yourself an opportunity to say, this is the year that I stop talking about, I'm going to go on a mission trip someday. And you take the opportunity right now to follow through and become one of those people that say, I did that. I went on that mission trip.
All right. Well, as you can see, things are up and running here. We have 12 stations set up, and they are just working hard to reach that 35,000 goal. All right. So let's go back to the message, and we'll work hard here.
Wow, it's great to see they've gotten started with the meal packing, and I'm looking forward to the progress that is made this morning as we go through this message and kind of cut back to what they're doing here this morning in the Great Hall. When you really stop and you start reading the Bible to see what God does with people, you quickly realize it becomes very clear that life with God in the pilot's seat is a wild ride. In Joshua 6, right after the encounter that Joshua had with the man in the plains of Jericho, the Lord gives Joshua these insane instructions. He says to him, he wants him to walk around the city 7 times, being led basically by the worship team. Not quite the battle plans that you would expect coming from a warrior, but it worked. It worked. These next couple people that we're going to meet here have some extraordinary life experiences and have taken the lead in our family ministry of Tip City Global Methodist Church. No one would dispute that presenting a relevant and understandable message to children is an absolute priority. It is that combination of a love for children and experience with children that is so important for our children and our youth to be able to move forward. Noelle Martin, who is our children's ministry coordinator for the ages of 0 to 5th grade, comes to us with many years of mission field experience. She spent many years over in the Czech Republic as a missionary, and then in South Sudan, Africa as a missionary, and also in Haiti. As well as she led a children's ministry at a large church where she worked at turning that children's ministry into a flourishing ministry before coming here to Tip City Global Methodist. And Byron Kimmel, who is the youth coordinator for the 6th through 12th graders in our church now, has spent 32 years teaching at middle school level and also as the cross-country coach for middle school and high school young people. When you bring these two people into a room, I am finding that when I sit down and talk with them, as they're getting to know each other, ideas begin popping like popcorn. I want you to listen in as they share some priorities, some possibilities, and some real needs within our family ministry in 2025. Listen here.
So Noelle, finally got your feet, settled, and what are you seeing in family ministry?
Well, I'm seeing a lot with the children. We have so many children coming every week. They're so energetic. They're ready to learn. They're so open to worship and to praying. It's just been so exciting to see all the children coming.
Yeah, that hallway seems like it's got a lot of energy. It does.
All the time, yeah.
Yeah. On our end, right now, I see similar. I see a lot of energy. I see excitement. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like a revival within the youth today. They want something stable. Jesus talked in Matthew 7 about the foundation and how if you build it on sand, the rain and storms come, the streams, and it just wipes it away. But if you build it on the rock, it's solid. And kids just seem like they want something solid today to build on. And what better to build on the gospel of Jesus Christ.
So what would you say is the goal of family ministry? For children's ministry, for the youth, what is our goal?
Well, they've got to know Jesus Christ. They have to know who the person of Jesus Christ is. And if that foundation is laid down for us, mm-hmm. we can build on that. And the vision that we have for our youth, specifically at the middle school level and the high school level, is we want kids to know Christ, to experience Christ, to share Christ, and to represent Christ. That's kind of where we're looking to build the faith of these young people.
Yeah, and I would say that's the same for the children. Like we want children to know who God is, that He loves them, that they can have a relationship with Him. and how even at a young age they can be used by him in amazing ways.
And then, Jesus, he had a special place in his heart for young children. And he even tells us to be like children, have that childlike wonder in looking at God. And I think if we fostered that feeling, it just brings an atmosphere of wonder. And then then the love of Jesus Christ just is able to grab hold inside their souls and their hearts. So, yeah, I think we've got a good momentum right now. Where do we need to go next? What do we need the most? That's kind of the thing I've been working with some of the people on the team. How about you?
Yeah, I see that we have a lot of dreams for family ministry for the children, and we just need a lot more people to join in with us because there's so many things we want to do
I know.
with the kids. It's amazing.
Yeah. I think healthy churches don't want to be limited in their ministries. And we were talking about stewardship, and most people think of stewardship as like with your money and your finances. Yeah. Really, it's your time. You're good stewards of your time. And as a healthy church, they utilize their time for kingdom purposes. And I think that's what the biggest need that we have in family ministries is we need members of the church to be good stewards of their time and if they feel a nudge, to respond, to connect, to look for opportunities to plug in, to use their spiritual gifts. I think that's one of the things that the congregation needs to know, a healthy congregation needs to take seriously and commit to.
That's right. So what can people expect when they come to family ministry?
Well, we mentioned the energy when you come up there. That's palpable. You're going to feel that when they come in there. They're going to be safe. Yeah. We take safety very seriously here. Yeah. In terms of being safe, there's going to be a curriculum that is focused on the gospel of Jesus Christ. And like we mentioned before, knowing who Jesus Christ is and building upon that throughout their time here with us. And in hopes that we send them out, I use the term spiritual Marines, we send them out that they can live and love like Jesus Christ. So someone coming in to see that, everything is kind of pointing towards that goal to point these young people towards that, being a disciple of Jesus Christ. I mean, that's what it gets down to. That's the most important thing. What about, from your perspective, what about you? What would they see on your end?
I think it's the same thing. Like, we want to create a safe environment. We'll have a team of volunteers that are trained and they're ready to engage the kids with age-appropriate curriculum that's all about Jesus, and just that they're going to be loved and accepted and valued. Mm-hmm. And we've just seen kids do so many things, even at young ages. They can pray, they can share their faith. So it's way beyond just taking care of kids. It's like really equipping them to be disciples of Jesus. So.
That is it. And equipping and empowering them. Yep. Like watching a young person lead a prayer session is incredible. Yeah. And I think we need to build upon that as well. Okay. What about, we have people who are kind of new to family ministry. That's what they expect. But what about people wanting to go next level with it? How would they plug in, or what do they need to do?
Yeah, I think they could reach out to either one of us. We'd love to get to know them, to get to know their family, who they are, what gifts they have, how they want to serve. I think, again, there's so many ways that they can step in and get to know us. I think that would be a great first step.
Yeah, I think some people are, they get comfortable, and that first step is difficult for them, is to actually, do I have what it takes? I don't know enough. I'm not a biblical scholar. And then there's that apprehension there. And really, you just got to put it on God's hands, and He will nudge you. So if anybody's out there feeling like that spiritual nudge, you need to be obedient to it and respond to it. He will equip you and give you what you need to continue to live and love these kids so that they may grow and nurture and become more like Jesus Christ.
That's right. And I think it will take all of us as a church family to really equip the next generation
Yes.
to face the challenges that they face. And, I think they need to be integrated into the life of the church right now. And we can love them and see God do amazing things through them. And I think it'll take all of us to do that.
Yes.
So,
I agree.
yeah.
I agree.
There are a lot of ways to touch a child's heart. And really what it begins with is a willingness on our part. Really, that's what it starts with. God equips those who are willing. He doesn't wait around for people who have the best ideas and everything is in place. He's looking for the willing. So oftentimes, some of those ideas that reveal to us that we're willing to be a part of a ministry come to us in the middle of the workday. They come to us late at night. And when we listen to those ideas, those moments where God draws near to us and starts talking to us about his battle plans, and we listen, they come and they are those plans that will absolutely change the trajectory of a kid's life. So I want you to listen very carefully this year as you move in, and as you know, our children's ministry leaders are looking for leadership. They're looking for people who would be willing to be a part of it, and say to yourself, what is God saying to me about this? I want you to take time to reach out to Noel, to reach out to Byron, or any of the persons that are in leadership in family ministry that are working week by week, and go up to them and say, tell me what you need done. I want to be a contributor in this ministry. So let's now go back live to the meal packing. And I want you to meet some of these younger people and some of the leaders that are helping to move the needle, so to speak, in some young people's lives.
All right. Well, I am here with some of those youth right now. So, guys, why are you giving up some of your Sunday morning to come and do this morning?
God called me to do this.
To help children around the world.
To help children around the world. Awesome. Ethan, you got an answer back there?
Feed hungry children.
To feed hungry children, yes. And this youth group, let me tell you, they are always involved in things and always having fun, right? You guys have fun together at church? All right, well, we'll let them get back to work and we'll head back to the message.
Oh, that's so neat. Isn't it good to see people doing something they love to do that brings kind of a purpose together with just having a passion for it, and seeing those young kids is just awesome. Finally, this morning, one of the things that I realized when I read about Joshua is that he was a man who listened to God. Then after listening, he responded. He cultivated the inner life. He listened to his mentor, who was Moses, and when his time came, when Joshua's time came, he was ready, because he had set down deep roots in the years before the leadership bell was tolling on a daily basis for him. He had spent time cultivating and being impacted by the leadership in his life, God's voice and Moses' voice, and it changed him for the rest of his life. If there is any legacy that I want to leave when my leadership time here at Tip City is over, is that someone might say about me that he was a man who listened for God's calling and did everything he could to follow that calling. That's all I want. I hope that's all you want. So if I have learned anything, it is that God can turn anyone around. Anyone. Anyone who opens up and seeks God's direction for their life. These next two guys that we're going to hear from are living examples of that. Mike Martin is here on staff as the congregational care pastor. And after years of running from God, this is his own words, after years of running from God, he finally said, enough. God, if you are there, I want you. And any of us who have ever said some version of that prayer knows what happens when we are serious about that and we say, God, if you're there, show up in my life. And that's what happened in Mike's life. Tim Krug just graduated from United Theological Seminary, and is a licensed local pastor in the Global Methodist Church. And Tim and his wife, Donna, attend here and are growing like crazy and helping ministries grow like crazy. Tim has an incredible ministry of prayer and healing. And I've seen this in action in my own life as he's prayed for me, as he's prayed for others. And he also does other ministries, expanding that ministry of prayer and healing. These two men have been assembling the initial team that will launch a Celebrate Recovery ministry here at Tip City Global. It will launch on Monday evening, January 13th, and the main things will begin at 5:45. And so if you want to be a part of it, come and be a part of that. I want to invite you for that Monday night to come to that service. It's going to be every Monday after starting the 13th and going on into the year. These two men sat down and began talking about Celebrate Recovery. And I want us to listen in to what they had to say. Take a listen to this.
And we're just so excited about starting this new ministry here at the church, Celebrate Recovery. Many of you may be familiar with that, or maybe you know someone who attends Celebrate Recovery. This is going to be every Monday. It'll be every Monday evening. It'll begin at 5:45. And we're going to have like a light dinner, sandwiches, things like that. A great time for fellowship and just getting to know one another. And then we have a worship service that's going to be, that starts at 6:30. And that'll be an hour long with worship. We have a token moment. We have a recovery lesson, testimony. And people just praise God and grow in their faith as well as their recovery. And then afterwards, we have small groups. And those are going to be gender specific, and individuals can go to those for whatever you're struggling with to work through and to talk through just the challenges that you're having that day. So just an incredible ministry that we look forward to what God's going to do in it.
I think it's pretty amazing. You know, God resurrected his son from the dead, and he is still in the resurrection business. And through Celebrate Recovery, we can become whole again because we've done some things in our life, messed up or whatever. We have hurts, habits, and hangups, and God is in the resurrection business. And to be in recovery is to become whole again, like He made us. So I would just be excited. Let's continue to celebrate.
Yes, and it's going to begin on January 13th, 2025, and we are so excited. And there's just so much from the moment someone walks into the door. There is that love, there's that acceptance. One of the mottos at Celebrate Recovery is no perfect people allowed. So it's a place where we can find that healing and the help we need to overcome those challenges that we have, whether it's a hurt, habit, or a hang up. Why would someone want to come to Celebrate Recovery?
I think the whole thing about it is a lot of people have all these hurts, hang-ups, and issues and habits, but they might not be comfortable with coming to regular church about it, like they don't fit in or they're not good enough. And what I caught about it too is it's a safe place of non-judgmental, because we're all in the same boat here. So people come and they know they can get help, and Celebrate Recovery is a great place where they can maybe feel like they fit in too.
Yeah. Yeah, and that kind of leads into, I mean, a lot of people are like, I don't know if I really need this recovery stuff. They kind of shy away from it. I'm not an alcoholic or I'm not a drug addict. And obviously that's a place where people can come who have those issues. But a lot of people they're struggling with something and they just don't realize just how much it has a hold of them. And it could be something, it could be anxiety, it could be depression. What's your experience with that, with folks who are like, I don't really think I need recovery?
I think they might not be admitting that they have any issues. And you know what? Come on, man. It's like we all have issues. And some of the ones I've seen and that really get the deep stuff is like anger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it can be from anything, but if it keeps infesting in yourself over the years and keeps getting worse and worse and worse, that is a serious hang up and it affects your life and everybody's life around you. So Celebrate Recovery is something that you can really dig into this issue, or like you said, depression, anxiety. There's just so many things that it could get into and not just be stuck on the alcohol and the drugs.
Yeah, and we've both worked in recovery ministry for many years, and we see folks who many times will come to a Celebrate Recovery, or maybe they come to a small group, and and they don't even really think they have a problem until they really begin to hear the testimonies and hear the lives changed, and so I would encourage folks just. Even if you're not sure, it's a great place to come for praise and worship. It's a great place to come and grow in your faith. And maybe God shows you that there's something in your life that you need to change. And not only does Celebrate Recovery offer this community on Monday nights, but it offers step studies. It offers opportunities to meet with other people, maybe like a sponsor or someone who's been through the same thing that can help guide you and you can, because at the end of the day, this is about making disciples. It's about people overcoming bondages in their life so they can take those next steps in living fully in God's will. So there's a lot of folks out there who, maybe are just on the edge of, do I really need to come or not? And I would just encourage you to come and just try it out, right?
Yeah, just ask the Holy Spirit, hey, what would you have me learn here? Or what would you have me do? And just show up and see what God will do, even if you don't think you have any issues.
Yeah. And how can someone be involved with Celebrate Recovery? You're the pastor of Celebrate Recovery, and you're working behind the scenes as well as with Jamie and Jason, who's going to be our team leaders. If someone's interested in becoming involved, whether that's just attending or serving, what are some ways that they can do that?
They can call the church and ask how they can get involved, and they can be directed to myself.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of different ways to serve, right? People could come and serve. You could come and serve food. You could come and be a greeter. Help set up, help with our celebration place, and just like to make a note of that, for folks who come and you have children, there's a ministry called Celebration Place where it's kind of like a Sunday school, but it's more it aligns with the Celebrate Recovery lessons and things like that. So your kids will have opportunities to learn more about God, learn more about how to handle struggles, and it kind of helps. It's kind of like a preventive maintenance kind of thing, because the kids begin to learn about themselves, about how to overcome challenges in their own life.
No doubt. If you're struggling, they're probably struggling too, right?
Yeah.
So on their level, they can learn how to deal with some of these issues.
Yeah. So I'm excited, and I know you're excited as well, and so many others, people here. And we have a team coming together that's just pulling all of this together, and we look forward to the launch on January 13th.
Wow. I am looking forward to transformation this year in people's lives as they move through this year and they are impacted by this. I know that the ministry of Celebrate Recovery and the prayer and healing service that we have on a monthly basis are going to play key parts in that transformation. Make sure that when you see these guys in and around the church, that you stop and you thank them for this ministry of recovery that they are spending time with and developing in our church. And be sure to know that that night of the week might be a night that you need to check off and say, I'm going to come to that service for my own life change. Now let's go back to the meal packing and see how they did. And as we wrap this morning up, and to all of you, I just wish a Happy New Year.
All right, so as you can see, we are still hard at work here. We're at about 9,000 pounds, or 9,000 meals, 9,000 meals packed so far. And if you heard that screaming, that means one of the tables has just completed a box. They've started yelling when they complete boxes. So we are going to continue to work here, but we're going to go ahead and wrap up this online service. Before we go, I want to let you know that these Next Step catalogs are available today. We do have printed copies here at the church, but you can also get everything online at tipcitygmc.org/next steps. Now, these are your guide to upcoming classes, mission opportunities, and events. So I challenge you, check these out, pray about it, see where God wants you to take your next step in 2025. Did you hear that? They are hard at work. That was another box completed. Thank you so much for joining us, and be sure and join us next week when we'll be able to give you the total that we got done here today. Have a great rest of your Sunday.